everyone. My name is Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and every once in a while a topic will come around that gets everyone in our office talking. Lately, it's Tiger King. We are obsessed with the show on Netflix. Now that we've all binged through it, though, the conversation that everyone's been circling back around to is who is the real villain in the Tiger King show? And there's so many different options to choose from that I had to pull in some CinemaBlend editors and videographers to weigh in with their strong opinions about who they think is the true villain of Tiger King. So I have with me Mack Rawden, Hannah Saulic, and Jeff McCobb.
What's up?
How are you?
Hello, everybody.
I think what we're going to do, and none of us discussed what our choices or who our choices were for this. We want to be surprised, but I'd like to sort of go around and give everybody an opportunity to talk about who they think their pick is. And then maybe at the end, we can discuss whether your arguments swayed our decisions. And I probably will want to start with Jeff, because I know he has really strong takes on this.
I have really strong takes on this. So much so that I'm not even leaving this open to debate. I'm just right, okay? The hands down, all right? I've been fuming about it. I've had arguments with this person in the mirror ever since I saw this show. I'm serious. This is how angry this makes me, okay? The biggest villain of Tiger King is a man who goes by the name of Bhagavan Doc Antle. I don't know if we're swearing on this show, but that guy. He is just such a despicable human being. And here's why. So the thing that really got me about that show was that each individual sector of these big cat people have their own cult, right? Doc's is the only one that's a full-on legitimate cult. I'm not a fan of the fact that he grooms young women into being his big cat wives, and then they stay on the land for the rest of their lives. They don't see their families, which I don't know how he can say it's not a cult after that. That's insane. And then he sexually exploits them, not only for his personal gain, but they're on posters and stuff. There's lots of injustices in this show. Obviously, these animals are abused, and that's terrible. But if there's one injustice that I could solve personally, it would be those women who are victimized by this garbage man with a God complex.
Cult leader, check. Villain, still mysterious. Best couch on the show, though, without question.
Nothing is cooler, sexier, and more significant.
Jeff, there was an inference in the show that he maybe kind of sort of kills the tigers when they get older.
You mean put them in a gas
inference?
chamber?
Maybe, kind of, sort of, allegedly. Do you think that happens?
When it comes to animal abuse, whether or not that happened, I don't think that he's one of the worst ones. I think that as far as the animals go, Doc isn't the biggest villain. As far as human beings go, he is hands down the biggest villain. I'm not sure if that's true or not, Mac.
That's a convincing case. Mac, you also come at this show with a lot of heat. Do you agree with Jeff, or do you have your own pick?
I strongly disagree with Jeff's take.
Okay.
But
wrong.
Let me first of all, I think we should be crowning Doc Antle. We should be giving him more. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
he's
Wow.
About to freak out.
I made a list to make sure I did not forget anyone. These are not in any particular order. I'm just going to run through the characters I named. Joe Exotic, Carole Baskin, Doc Antle, Jeff Lowe, Alan Glover, Howard Baskin, Tim Stark, the tiger that ripped poor Soft's arm off.
Being a tiger.
Really?
And the guy who had the snow leopard in his van.
Oh my God, I forgot about that guy.
All strong possibilities
That's true.
here. But at the end of the day, there's one clear choice here, and if we're swearing to follow Jeff's lead, it's Carole fucking Baskin. Carole Baskin is so far and away worse than everyone else because she pretends like she is not the same as everyone else. Carole Baskin thinks that, as Howard calls her, she's the Mother Teresa of cats. She thinks that she is on one plane where she is doing everything by the book and everyone else is completely down here. I think that's why so many people have been frustrated with her watching the documentary, because she just acts above all of it, participates in all of it. And on top of that, I would say,
I don't
what
understand what she
chances
does
were-
to help cats.
she just relocates them
To that
into
point.
another
Yeah.
pet.
I still don't get it.
Yes, she is the example of the like 7-year-old boy that gets mad and takes his ball home so that no one else can play with it. Right. That's exactly what she is.
I want to point out that in discussing all the things that make Carole bad, Mac didn't once mention she allegedly feeds husbands to tigers.
So I'm not done there. Okay, hold on.
That's not even the worst of what she's done. That's just an afterthought.
But here's a fun fact that the documentary did not show. The guy Carole's with between Don Lewis, who was maybe sort of probably almost certainly fed to tigers, and Howard Baskin, who we could all do 3 hours on about what the hell is up with him.
I have so many Howard thoughts.
and his singing.
Seeing you in springtime, I never could go.
You are something else.
I just feel bad for him.
Second guy she was with for an extended period of time has a restraining order against her because he said that she was going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
We wrote a
I
story on that.
story. Yeah.
This is a recurring pattern of misbehavior and threats that she makes behind closed doors, and then as soon as the door opens, she's got on her fucking cat prints, talks like all of our grandmothers. I hate her.
Which,
She's
on
the
that
worst.
point, are people allowed to wear cat print now? Or is that just like you can't do it anymore because you'll just be labeled as a
I
Carole
think
Baskin?
you still can. Yeah, don't let her claim that.
You have to be doing it ironically, though. like pulling a basket.
Oh. Hannah, do you
I'm just
agree
gonna
with
point
either
out-
of these two guys, or are you taking a left turn and going in a different direction?
Full transparency, I just watched the last episode like not even an hour ago. So
She just binged it, like over the past day.
I don't even really know what I'm saying anymore, but they're all bad.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's not
No, that's
one-
fair.
Like the real villain, if we're gonna get like abstract about it, is just like human ego. Because if it weren't for like Joe and Doc Antle and Carole Baskin just thinking that they're so great and that they're like cat saviors, none of this shit would have even happened. So that is, and like the whole thing with like Jeff, Joe, and the justice system was going back and forth and like who said what, it's like, oh my God, and
the
even the
extortion.
system is like...
The big cat people are backstabbing pieces of shit.
Mac made a prediction that all four of us would have different choices, and you guys are completely wrong if you don't choose Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic is, without question, the worst person featured in this show. The reason why I'm picking Joe is because I think everything about Joe is a fraud. I think he whips up all of this controversy for reasons that we will never fully know, but it's kind of just to keep himself in the mix. I don't believe
His ego.
It's his ego. Yeah, I don't believe that he even is invested in most of the things that happen here, and that the thing that caught me onto him being a complete sham is after the arson that he probably did himself.
He probably did, yeah.
Allegedly. And when he's speaking really passionately about how mad he is, he breaks mid-thing to get a better like take of his anger.
Yeah.
Boiling alive in a, boiling alive in an inferno, a towering inferno. Boiling alive in a towering inferno of nothing but flames and fire.
It just like, we do this on the regular, and we see how often we either speak passionately from the heart, or if we stop and say, let me do that one again.
Yes.
And here he is, like, revealing how upset he is, but he's not really upset. And
He's
that's
like
just
barely even like stuttering. It's not like he can't find the words.
100%. And his obsession for Carole consumes him. But it's the snippets of his TV show that just get more vile and vile as it goes.
That's true.
And the things when he finally found that dead ringer Carole person to come in and do the music video, feeding the husband to the animals. I mean, Joe always finds a way through the course of the show. It's what makes him compelling television, to push the meter past this is as the bottom of the barrel. Like, this is as low as this show could possibly go. Joe is always like, hold on, wait a minute, I got one more for you.
Yeah.
And you plunge even further into being despicable. So while it's an obvious choice, I have to go with Joe Exotic as the worst person and the easiest villain.
Shocking to me that no one here has brought up Jeff Lowe yet.
He was a contender.
He was a contender.
That Jeff Lowe, to me, is allegedly lifelong predator.
Yeah.
Like, I think Joe and even Doc and Carole got into this initially with the best of intentions.
That's fair.
I think they love animals. I think that things just got out of hand. I think Jeff sees opportunities, and we saw this repeatedly in the documentary, from taking the zoo, involving the state, to trying to extort Carole and get information on, like, he is just constantly trying to play the upper hand, and I think there's a level of villain in him that isn't present in anyone else. He would at least admit that he's a bad person. Carole's the only one on this list that would not at least say, like, if she had to rank herself, how are you from 1 to 10? She's an immediate 9.8. And the only reason she's not saying 10 is because she feels like other people would criticize her if she said 10.
See, that's how I feel about Doc, though. I think Doc completely lacks self-awareness. He doesn't see what makes all of this a cult. He doesn't see it. He thinks he's God. Like, he has a God complex. He's completely full of himself. Joe is the only one who said, this is the reason I didn't choose Joe. He's the only one who said, yeah, I have a cult. You know what I mean? He's like, this is my cult. Like, he at least has a little bit of self-awareness to where, he's a sociopath.
Yeah, I feel like Joe is more self-aware than everyone else on that. I mean, maybe besides Jeff, I could see that argument, but that's he's almost like more human to me in that way because he's able to be like, yeah, I messed up.
Did I do it on purpose? No, I was wrapped up in having a zoo.
By the time we get to meet, what's the name of the guy who put the tiger in the suitcase?
Jeff Lowe.
By the time we get to meet Jeff and get introduced to all the horrible things that he's done, we're so pummeled by the viciousness of all the other characters that it's just like, oh yeah, he kind of fits into the story. It makes sense. So it's a little bit exhausting by the time he gets introduced.
It's funny, I forgot about the suitcase thing. It's funny how much terrible stuff you forget about. Like,
you just absorb it.
Yeah, like, just so everyone knows, Hannah's currently recording a reaction series, so we could but when you see it, you're reminded, like, oh my gosh, like, I forgot about all these horrific events because it's so much to remember. It's just one thing after another.
Crazy.
Let me go around and just ask quickly then, did our arguments change anyone's mind? Does anybody want to change their vote from what they said initially?
No, bro.
Oh, no. Everyone's standing by it. All right, fine. Well, then I'm going to turn it over to everyone who's watching this video right here. Head to the comments section and let us know who you would pick. Do you agree with any of the four of us? Or do you have someone that we didn't even bring up? While you are here, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that every time we post a new video on CinemaBlend's YouTube page, you guys will be the first ones to hear about it. In that comment section, too, give us some ideas of things you want to hear done in this group roundtable discussion. We want to keep doing as many of these as we can. And in the meantime, if you haven't seen Tiger King yet, I'm sorry, we just spoiled all of it for you, but it's still worth checking out. 7 episodes on Netflix. Be sure to binge it and then come back to CinemaBlend.
Be sure to watch me react to it, Sean.
Watch Hannah react to it. Those should be dropping within days. And you're going to want to come over to the channel and make sure you watch all of her amazing reactions to the horribleness that is Tiger King. Go say goodbye, everybody. We'll see you with the next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.